I've failed and messed up so many times in my life. And it's so funny saying that while sitting out here. I'm in Greece, by the way, Crete. I don't know exactly where. Hotel, might not even disclose. This ain't paid promo. So, but yeah, it's funny talking about my failures and mess ups. I'm going to go through a few of them, like my car getting stolen. Well, parts of my car getting stolen twice, two separate occasions. Absolutely crazy. Talking about like the earliest failure I actually remember that actually knocked the fuck out of my confidence. How you could say my podcast failed. I lost footage for a millionaire after recording for his event. What else have I done? I would say I wouldn't say I messed up a funeral video, but we will get into that. We'll get into that. And then my door-to-door stories, how I nearly like messed up working with Nero because I wanted to do door-to-door sales instead, which was completely random, by the way. And then how I spent all of my money. Yeah. Well, one way, this trip. But the first failure I actually remember was I was in school and I was decent at football. I ain't going to say I'm absolutely insane, but the teacher was like, I should play for the year above. So put me in the team for the year above. I think I'm in like year 9 and they're in like year 10, or maybe I was in year 10 and they was in year 11 or whatever. But I was a skinny kid. I'm still kind of slim now, but I was skinny, right? If I can find the picture, I'll put up a picture of me the first time I actually went to the gym, and I took a picture and I was just absolutely skinny. Like, if I ever become a fitness coach for whatever reason, that will be the photo I use. You already know the fitness coaches be having their skinny ass photo when they were like 12 and comparing to themselves now when they're like 25, peak condition, creatine every day, some of them enhanced steroids. But I remember jumping on the football pitch. Oh, this rock is so uncomfortable, guys. Bear with me. I remember jumping on the football pitch, right? I was subbed on. He was like, oh yeah, play centre back, or playing centre back. Like, this coach was like trying to be like Pep Guardiola before his time. You get what I'm trying to say? It's like ball playing centre back, And because he seen me playing, he played me there in my own year. He was like, oh yeah, you're good, you're fast, good on the ball, etc. So he subbed me on. And maybe he subbed me on centre mid, actually. All I know is he subbed me on. Guys, within 20 seconds, I got bodied off the ball. And for the Americans that don't know what being bodied is, it's like he went shoulder to shoulder with me and he shoulder barged me so hard that I went on the floor. And I'm talking, it was muddy. Like, bro, first touch was good, but just knocked the fuck out of me. And I was just like, whoa, that's not a foul. This is going to be a long day. This is going to be a long, long fucking day. I just got, bro, that shit knocked the confidence out of me to the point where they were like, oh, come on, man, get back up. And at the time, I didn't really know about, resilience, you could say. I didn't know about all of that shit. I was just like, damn, I failed. Fuck, it's over. Like, what are they really going to think about me? You know what I mean? So I got subbed off literally 3 minutes later. Absolute horror. And to be subbed on and subbed off 3 minutes later, stinker. Absolute stinker. I did play for them again. It did go a lot better, actually, now that I think about it. Pitches were still shit. But yeah, it just didn't go the way I wanted it to, man. That failure hurt me. The next one I would say is the podcast, right? The podcast isn't a mess up. I actually love it. It got me comfortable talking to the camera a lot more. It was more consistent, and I did it with a friend called Kai. Like, you guys can go check it out. I'll probably put a link in the description if I can actually find the channel. We don't do it no more, obviously. We stopped last year, March-ish. First, it was called the CEO of You, where we were interviewing entrepreneurs, business owners, anyone that's self-employed, that's doing something for themselves. And later, it kind of turned into, I don't want to say crime stories, but people that had, either a troubled upbringing or troubled upbringing, or went to prison and now they come out and they're doing better for themselves. They're doing more for the community. So we kind of changed it to the Untold Pod, where we told untold stories and untold lessons or some shit like that. And the only reason it failed is because we stopped. That's about it. And to be fair, when we stopped, I think that's when we was actually gaining traction. But it took us a year and a half to get there, almost 2 years. And with a podcast, man, it's not easy. We had to eventually rent out a room. I already had my own camera, but Kai had to get a camera himself. We had to rent out a room, so that's a monthly expense. We had to decorate that room, and we were broke at the time. Like, I'm talking touching overdraft broke. And we just couldn't afford to make the room look good. Do you get what I'm trying to say? We couldn't afford to make the room look good. So we had this cheap-ass room. I didn't even have this camera. I had another camera. It was still good, though, the Sony ZV-E10. I'd recommend that if you're just starting out. But, bro, the setup was just busted. Getting people down was busted. God forbid if they asked for us to cover their travel, which is standard. You know, you should be able to cover a guest travel. But we were just broke, bro. Thankfully, though, a lot of guests actually came down, supported us without the need for us. There's a B on my camera. Without the need for us actually needing to pay for their travel, which was amazing. We had some great podcasts with some great guests sharing some great information. And obviously we just, especially me at the time, I didn't really know how to package YouTube videos. I didn't know how to package thumbnails, so our thumbnails looked shit. The titles were poor. The intros could have been a lot better. We didn't need to do the whole crazy fucking cinematic intro like Stephen Bartlett did, but that's all we knew, so we tried to copy that. Yeah, it was just a lot of mistakes that we made with that podcast. And I guess if I was to do a proper podcast now, like whole setup, 2 cameras, 3 cameras, interview guests, it would be a whole different story. But it did make me realize how much effort a podcast actually takes. Because yeah, you got the whole filming, and yes, you got the whole editing, and the episodes are an hour long, but the research, the questions you're going to ask, the narrative of the whole story of the whole podcast, getting the guest on in the first place, making sure that guests can actually speak and make sure they're comfortable. Are they available on the day? Then you have to get them in the room. You have to be in the room, and then you can actually start filming. There's just so much work that goes in before you film that it's like 5 to 10 hours of pre-production work for 1 hour of production work for about 2-3 hours of post-production work. And if you're doing that all yourself, that's basically 20 hours a week. Let's just say 15-20 hours a week, a full part-time job. So, and plus it's not paying you. So it's tough. It's tough. We did eventually get monetized on YouTube, but even then, YouTube paid pennies, bro, because we weren't getting views like that. Like, some episodes did well, but others didn't do as well. But it was a great starting point for us to meet people and really like show people that we're interested in, you know, the entrepreneur space and stuff like that. So that's I guess through the podcast we met Aaron. In fact, we met him before the podcast, but he came on the podcast and then he introduced us to Jazz Rose, and we worked for Jazz Rose. Now, I was going to do sales for Jazz Rose, but I ended up doing content for Jazz Rose instead. And I ended up filming one of his, I think it was, at the time it was called Money Mastery. It's just one of his business events. And I was filming it. It was actually a very good event. It was basically from 10 till 4 or 10 till 5. And there's one break in the middle. And I was filming the whole event. And the first 3 hours from like 10 till 1, it was great. I was like, this is good. He took a break. I'm like, cool, let me empty this SD card onto my external hard drive just to make sure that the footage is safe. And then, you know, I carry on with the rest. Bro, I went to plug in my SD card into my laptop and put it onto my external hard drive, my T7 SSD, and the footage just wasn't there. It was there, but it wouldn't open. And I was like, what the fuck? I was just like, so many things going through my head. Like, I didn't take out the SD card as soon as I ended the record button, which I know can sometimes mess up like footage. I didn't do that. I'm like, there's space on the SD card. There's everything. I just came to the conclusion that it corrupted. The only thing I could think of is every time that I put it into the MacBook, it was like there was things in the bin of the SD card. So like if I put the SD card into the laptop, in the bin of the laptop, there was footage that just hasn't actually been deleted. So potentially that was probably the fucking reason. But I was shook. Like, I didn't tell Jazz at the time, didn't want to mess up his psyche for the event because obviously he's trying to do the event to upsell people into his next event. So I recorded the rest, make sure I got a new SD card. Didn't want to take the chance with that one. The second half went perfectly fine. The first half corrupted, but I think the first half was really, really good. It was really disappointing that happened. Eventually, of course, I told him. I apologized. I even offered a refund. Partial refund, obviously, because it took up my time. And there's still half of the footage. He didn't actually even say nothing. He just kind of moved on from it. And that's another thing with like the level of clients that you deal with. If you work with, like, I've worked with all types of clients that they don't want to pay £50, $50. I've worked with clients that happily pay $2,000, $5,000. And the difference is wild. I always thought, it's just a social media thing, People always say, the high ticket clients, they're just like, here's the money, bro. And then the lower ones are like, here's the money. Can you also do this and make sure this is done and that is done? And they give you a fucking ball ache. Like, they just make you work for that low amount of money. Like, if there's one suggestion, of course, if you're just starting out, you're probably gonna have to take the lower ticket jobs. Get your get your money up a little bit, but also get your experience in the game, improve at whatever you do, and just get better. But as soon as you can, bro, know the worth of your service, of your product, and charge what it's actually worth and how much it's actually benefiting them. Don't charge what it actually is, but charge how it's actually benefiting them. Now, after I lost footage for a millionaire, I got another mess up. In fact, this taught me a very important lesson, right? I guess all these things kind of taught me a lesson. So all these failures, just like the first one, resilience. As I grew up, I realized you need to be resilient. You're going to be knocked down in life. So typical. The podcast, content lessons, things I just know how to package videos a lot better now. And you don't need as much effort as I thought you did to make a video good. Losing footage for a millionaire, I just know to always test record, make sure your SD cards are clean, and instead of deleting it from the laptop, just format the whole SD card and have enough external storage or a NAS drive so you can actually offload the footage. Now, the funeral video. I was just starting out and I was working with Cancer Culture, and someone from there was like, I think their nan passed away and they wanted me to do a funeral video. I was like, never done one before, but okay. I think I charged like $250. Yeah, I think I charged $250. 2 locations. How long was it? Sorry, it's just really uncomfortable. $250, 2 locations. I think it was even like 4 hours, 5 hours. Yeah. So really, it's like less than £50 an hour. And I'm gonna that's me recording, and I'm going to have to edit the video. Now, I was like, what's the video for? So I know like how to record it. They're like, it's just for like personal use, private use, just so the family can see and watch it back. So we just have something to, watch and remember her by. So I was like, okay, great. So I'm going to record landscape so you can watch it on your TV, bring it back. It's just going to have more longevity when it's landscape. Just like YouTube videos, they last a longer time compared to short form videos, etc. And you can watch YouTube on your phone or your TV, your iPad, etc. So I was like, cool, that's what I did, right? And like, as I got there, she was like, capture me coming out the Rolls Royce. I was just like, okay, captured a bit. Then I got inside and that's when I was really capturing things, right? But like the way it was set up, they already had a camera guy, which I was confused to why I was actually there. So the position the camera guy was in, I couldn't actually get the best position for the fucking video. So I was off to the side and I was always fucking trying to move the camera and shit. Plus I was trying to get used to a new tripod and it was messing around. So filmed it anyway, managed to record it. She's mic'd up and everything. So the audio's fine. Everything's good. Check. Switch location. Check. Great. As I edited the video, she said, oh my God, this video's fucking shit. I want all my money back. I was like, what the She was like, you didn't capture me coming out the Rolls Royce. You didn't capture this. I'm like, the video's for your nan. Like, you said it was for like private use. So I captured you speaking. I got that in there. You saying, I think it's called a eulogy. Is it called a eulogy? I think when you're saying your words and all of that, it was actually very nice. Like I actually felt kind of emotional editing that. So yeah, there was that, and she was just not happy with the video. She wanted her money back. I was just like, completely understand, but I can't do that. Like, I was there for 5 hours filming, and she's like, I'm not going to use it. Like, just delete all the footage. And I was just like, maybe she's just emotional because, of the passing. So I'm not trying to be rude or anything. And I was just like, just ultimately ignoring the messages after I told her what can and can't be done. Eventually, though, I was just like, listen, I'm not trying to ruin my reputation over this video. I was like, why would you delete the video of your nan anyway? It was just a very crazy situation. And then in the same breath, a few moments later, she asked me if I could record a video at her brother's thing or something like that. I was like, why would you ask me again? At the same time, I'm thinking maybe it's a setup, maybe it's not. I'm trying to say maybe she's trying to get me down. Same breath, I said yes. And it didn't go through. I can't remember why. I think it got cancelled or something like that. So maybe it wasn't a setup. Maybe I wouldn't or would be here. I don't know. But I gave her a partial refund, which everyone said I shouldn't have done. But I was like, forget it. I'll just do that anyway. I'm not trying to fucking ruin my rep out here because of that BS. But I was just like, what a weird situation. And what that taught me was not always, but if you're going to charge, to me, that was a low amount. I was just getting started. You're always going to have problems with those type of people. But this is why contracts are good. This is why you always ask for, what do you expect from this collaboration? What do you expect from this project? How do you want this project to turn out? And get them to write a detailed fucking paragraph on how they want it to turn out, or give bullet points on how they want it to turn out. That way, you actually, like, as long as you deliver on those deliverables, you will be good. That's one major thing. So if you're like an editor, do that. Videographer, do that. Photographer, do that. But yeah, that's the only time I actually had issues with like videography when it came to that. It was such a strange experience, man. Oh my days. Anyway, the Toyota Yaris. So, Toyota Yaris. The first time I got the Toyota Yaris, I was like, yeah, this is cold. Car's clean. It didn't have Apple CarPlay, as far as I remember, which is kind of sad. Tech guy, Apple CarPlay is kind of necessary in your whip, isn't it? Google Maps, play music without having to put your phone up on one of those like phone holders, and your phone charges through Apple CarPlay with the wired version anyway. But it didn't have that. So when did this happen? It was a friend's birthday party, and I was going to go to the party with my boy, which I did go with. I was like, let me park my car by yours. Now, the area I'm from, it ain't the best, but they don't steal car parts from there. Not that I'm aware of. Didn't happen to me anyway. My boy's area is also not the best, but his specific area was actually kind of nice. So I was just like, okay, I'll leave my car there. And they have like parking spaces for the residents of that area, that small little area. So I was like, cool. Parked my car there, and we took an Uber to the function. Where the fuck the function? Where the fuck the function? The way I feel right now, I feel like we need to be all alone. Okay, we took the taxi to the function. We're chilling, doing whatever. We ate food, got to the apartment, Airbnb or whatever it was. And then it's like 1 a.m. and his mom calls him to tell me, and she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was like, what the hell is going on, bro? Turns out she flips it. She goes on FaceTime. She flips the camera. Bro, my car's there with no bumper, no license plate, no headlights. Like, what? The side mirrors, like, there's like I've got the front window, but then there's like a little window at the front, and that's like smashed in. I guess they smashed it in to get in. I don't even know if they went inside, bro. It was just messed up. And I was like, what the hell? Left the function. Went there. looked at it and I was just like, I don't even know how to feel. Like, I don't have an emotional attachment to my cars or cars. I don't really care about cars. That's why some man are probably listening like, man's got a Yaris, bro. Like, what? Why didn't you get an Audi? Yeah, why didn't you get an A3? Why didn't you get this? Why didn't? Because I don't care. Like, I actually don't care about cars. So I was looking at it. I was like, oh, man, that's tough. What do I even do now? What's the process? What's the steps? Da 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 da. I had to call my insurance, tell them the situation, the time, etc. And they picked up the car the next day. They actually fixed it, did a terrible job because the sensors weren't fucking working. So I had to bring it back and they told me, nah, that's how it's meant to be. And I had to bring it back again. And another guy was like, oh yeah, we messed up. So they fixed it again. So that happened. Then the second time my Yaris was stolen because they repaired the first one. So I was like, okay, cool. Maybe it was a smart idea. Well, it would have been a smart idea to actually get rid of the car and change the car. But it was on like finance, so I probably could have anyway. But the second time, I was actually in a nice area. I was in Sutton Coldfield, and I was just parked up, and then I was like, let me just park here because I didn't want to pay for parking. I didn't want to pay for parking to go Nando's, so I was like, let me just park here. And then as we came back from the Uber, I literally seen them this time. They finished the job, and they were driving away in a black Audi. I was like, wow. And they just sped off, bro. But obviously, I'm not gonna chase them. I didn't really mind. I kind of wanted to get rid of the car at this point anyway, because I was just like, I don't need the car. I'm working at home, doing editing. I don't really leave the house unless it's to go to the gym. It's just not necessary. So that time, they actually wrote off the car and paid me out, and I paid off the finance company. And yeah, man, that that was basically the Yaris story, to be honest. Now, door-to-door sales, because I am on holiday and I kind of do want to get back. Door-to-door sales. I was doing door-to-door sales and that nearly messed up the chance to work with Nero because I was already working with Nero. Then I jumped into door-to-door sales, but that meant my communication went down because I was focusing on work. What else went down? Like my communication, the quality was still good. God, there's a lot of flies. The quality is still good, but it wasn't probably as good as it could have been. My focus and just everything was just off. And it was like to me, bro, you need to be like intentional with where you want to be in the future. So if you want to do sales, continue doing sales. But if you're just doing it for the money, you need to think long term, just past the money, essentially. And I was like, oh shit, okay. And then after like weeks of thinking about it, I basically quit, right? And it's not instantly that we started blowing up on YouTube, but it's like I quit. And then, time went on, we carried on with YouTube and stuff like that. He still wasn't showing his face at this time. But eventually, he took a little break from YouTube just to reassess and evaluate, and he started to show his face, and I was like, finally. And things started to take off. And it always makes me wonder, like, if I carried on with door-to-door sales, where would I be? Like, would I still be working with Nero? Maybe, maybe not. Would I be posting content? Maybe, maybe not. Would I have 60,000 followers on Instagram? Probably not. Would I have 16 on TikTok? Probably not. Would I be working with some of my favorite brands like Adobe, Veed? Worked with Hollyland, so I got this mic. Potentially DJI. I want to work with DJI. But yeah, would I have been working with these brands? Probably not. Would I have, started my online business, helping people actually grow on social media and changing their lives and their trajectory? Probably not. So, shit. I guess things happen for a reason, right? Now, door-to-door sales did make me some money, and I know you guys wanted to know what I spent my money on. When I was making, I can't say $1,000 a week, but a good week in door-to-door sales, you're making $1,000, bro. When that landed in my account, I knew it was real. I said, okay. Straight to Fumo. I've been to Fumo, I can't lie. I went to San Carlo, which is basically Fumo anyway. Experienced that. I was like, the bill came to like £200. I was like, it's light work. I was like, it's light work. Paid that. I was like, yeah, man, I'm in my era. Now I feel like I'm the last person to buy clothes. Like, I didn't really spend my money on clothes. Not really. I'll spend it on tech, food. Yeah, tech and food, bro. tech and food way before I buy clothes, which is probably not a good thing, but it is what it is. I didn't buy any trainers. It took me a while to buy some new trainers. So if you guys want to know what I spent my money on, it's tech and food, probably camera equipment, nice dinners, takeout. I used to go crazy with takeout. I'm talking, I would not eat breakfast, not eat lunch. And when it came to dinner, if there weren't something ready, or if there wasn't something easily there to be like cooked, I would be like, cool, let me order a Peppers. If you don't know what Peppers is, it's basically this, it's like Pepe's, but if you don't know what none of those are, it's essentially a food shop that does chicken and rice boxes, which are, it's delicious. Or I'd get Perifino, which is like chicken and pasta. You can have wraps and stuff like that. I'm not really a Mackey's person. If you're a Mackey's person, that's kind of messed up. KFC, sometimes it's a bit too greasy, but how can a nigga go wrong with chicken, you know? But that's how I essentially spent my money. I'm trying to think. How do I spend my money now? Things ain't changed. Like clothes is the last thing that I buy to this day. Maybe that should change one day. Oh, I just remembered. I know niggas will be calling me Nero with these shades on, so I didn't really put them on. But since we made it to the end of the video, hopefully everything's still flipping working. The sun came out, so hopefully it's not too bright. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the view. And yeah, I'm probably going to record some more B-roll for my short form content and then get back to my holiday, man. Just chilling, really. Chilling in the sun. On the beach. And this rock was uncomfortable. Made my legs all scratchy. God damn.